Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Great to see you again. Welcome back to The Loft. Now Dan and I today, this is very serious. We're not having any introductory messing around. Dan and I want to talk to you about a house which we really, I think we both do love, don't we? But we just don't actually talk about all that much.
We haven't talked about it for a while.
It has been a while.
It's one that we both have bought fragrances from. We both.
Yeah.
This is the house of Frederic Malle, and I think he's achieved great things. I mean, I know it has recently been bought by Estee Lauder. I don't know how recently.
Yeah, a few years back, but one of these big.
But anyway, he's done
grabs,
incredible things to bring perfumers to the foreground. Each of their bottles has the name of a perfumer. It's lots of these perfumers have been associated with designer houses, and we wouldn't otherwise know their names. So it's great that he's bringing them to the forefront.
Like an editor of a paper, I think that's the idea, isn't it? And each perfumer is the journalist.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
I like that concept. I have to say.
And he's done great. There are some great fragrances, some popular ones. Portrait of a Lady, really popular ones.
Love it.
We both own Portrait of a Lady, I think, and Geranium Pour Monsieur is one we both own as well.
Yeah.
Loads of other fragrances. One house which has used real oud and taken a gamble with some funky, expensive real oud as well.
He's done both, hasn't he? I mean, when you think he's done things that are quite approachable, almost mainstream, but like fantastic quality.
Yep.
But then things like The Night, which is as out there as many ouds I've ever smelled, and I think to have the courage to do both things in your portfolio is a good indicator of the man's passion.
So this is their newest release at the time of recording. So this is the end of August. It's been released in the UK. I'm not sure if it's actually released in the States yet. So this is Synthetic Jungle. The perfumer is Anne Filippo, and I think it's her first fragrance for Frederic Malle. So we wanted to talk about this fragrance for a number of reasons. One being we recently talked about a fragrance by Anne Filippo, or she was a part of it. I'm not sure how big a part of it. Phantom by Paco Rabanne. You can see our video if you really want to watch
Joint
it.
enterprise, I think, is the term they use in courts.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a crime, but
but the other thing being, the name Synthetic Jungle, to release an expensive luxury fragrance and have the name Synthetic unashamedly out there.
Bold choice.
It is a bold choice, and it also makes sense because this is a green fragrance, and a fragrance which Joe hasn't smelled it yet. I bought a little 10ml bottle. Here you go. We'll talk about the price in a minute. But I've worn it a bit, and for me, we'll talk about the notes. But it's centered around this kind of like Muguet Lily of the Valley accord, which is of course a synthetic accord. So it's all based around this idea of synthetics. Do you want to?
I want to smell it.
Smell, and I'll just throw in.
I often think with something like this, if you've got the word jungle, the word synthetic next to it could almost be replaced by the word imagined or imaginary.
I'm going to say, actually,
it's that idea.
This is one. I know I've just thrown test strips everywhere, but this is one I really feel you should try on skin.
Well, let's give me a little.
So I'm going to spray it.
Give me some on the wrist.
I'm going to remind myself, and I'm just going to talk a little bit. So this is 100ml is £195, 50ml 128. It's great that Frederic Malle also do smaller bottles. 30ml £92, 10ml, which I've got, £38. So this is by Anne Filippo. So we've a video with her before. She's an IFF perfumer. Lots and lots of designer releases for Givenchy, Armani, Jo Malone, Paco Rabanne, of course.
Big houses there.
A lot of fragrances for L'Artisan Parfumeur as well. 14 fragrances for L'Artisan Parfumeur. Interestingly, I haven't tried any of them.
No, we need to try some of those, I think, don't we? Because
anyway, so
we
this
like the house.
Synthetic Jungle. Frederic Malle wanted this to be an homage to the 1970s green chypre. Again, something else which attracted me. I love chypres. I really love green chypres. The two which he mentions as his kind of chief inspiration are Chanel number 19. If you think of a green chypre, that's one that will probably spring to mind. Another one is Private Collection by Estee Lauder, which may be because Frederic Malle is now owned by Estee Lauder.
Yeah, a little tribute to the boss.
But anyway, so that's our little introduction. So I've worn this a few times, but interesting to see what your first impressions from first spray are.
I like it. I mean, I have to say, my first impression is it's very familiar. It's I don't think it's something that's breaking new ground in terms of the smell world that it encapsulates. But I really like it. I like the plushness of it, and I like the feeling of actually sticking my head in a great bunch of lily of the valley, and
I get,
it feels very realistic somehow.
I get not. So there's obviously this green floral, it's a kind of green floral sheep. Tell you what I was thinking of. Because I do get a slightly synthetic feel from the outset. Imagine you're at a florist's and they've kept the flowers in water. They've taken the flowers out of the water and then wrapped them in cellophane.
Uh-huh.
And it's this kind of dripping, wet, green stalks.
Yeah.
Wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
I feel it's very kind of fresh, but wet, but also plasticky and green.
The plasticky thing is the big thing for me. I get the plasticky, like I have said it a million times. I get that lovely sort of warm beach ball rubbery thing.
Yeah.
And I'm yet to figure out what that is, but I really like it.
Yeah.
And it makes it more interesting than just a green floral.
You get
white floral as well, chewy white floral.
You get a big hit. I think from the beginning, from a lot of this fragrance, as well as the kind of Muguet, Lily of the Valley things, I think galbanum is a really, really big player, and it's something which I think of when I think of 70s sheepras. Well, in fact, any green sheepras, but I think galbanum is a big, big, big player. That kind of bitter green, slightly hint of apple-y.
Yeah, it's not sort of fresh, clean apple. It's a slightly turning apple with just browning at the edges.
I've got to say as well, I think this fragrance, I know obviously we're talking about it and we're reviewing it, and when especially Joe's first impressions, of course you've got to get up and close. I think this is best smelt when you're not so close. What I loved about it was not going like this, which of course we've got to do to kind of review it, but was to wear it and feel it around me. And up close, it does feel a little bit synthetic, as the name suggests, but a little bit almost harsh. But to walk around with it, I just felt it really kind of engulfing me a lot more.
I'd like to wear that sort of up here and on the clothes as well, and just let it be in the air a little bit.
But I think even smelling it off you is better than when I smell it off here. And so you also get, the other thing is, you get the kind of blackcurrant. There's a bit of kind of a fruity kind of blackcurrant vibe, which
I'm getting blackcurranty cider.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the combination of the blackcurrant with the kind of greeny appleiness of kind of galbanum.
I'm getting memories of my college days and drinking snakebite and black. Yeah,
snakebite black, but
not too sweet either. I mean,
no.
It's that slightly darker facets of
it's interesting
blackcurrant.
Because the blackcurrant is presumably an accord.
Yeah,
she's not used blackcurrant bud, so it probably is blackcurrant. I mean, lots of these things. The galbanum could be kind of a real galbanum, but all of these Muguet notes, they're hydroxycitronel. They're all, or it wouldn't be Liril anymore because you can't use all. Traditionally, we definitely would have had Liril in a green sheepra, but Liril you can't use anymore, so kind of Liril will replace it. Lots of synthetics used to create this Muguet Lily of the Valley greenness.
But also, I think the synthetics might be used individually. But also, I don't know what's gone on here. You could just as easily use lots of good naturals and create a synthetic jungle.
Yeah,
so the jungle could be the accord.
Yes, yeah.
In a way, I don't know, but I don't know what a jungle smells like. I've only ever been to Hyde Park and Holland Park.
The thing is, this doesn't.
My nan's back garden.
I think that's interesting because when you say the word jungle, you think of something tropical. So therefore, you might think, I don't know, ylang,
lychee,
jasmine, all those. And this is not that. This is clean. I say clean. Yeah, kind of clean, modern, quite bright greens. And again, I've said it before, and I will probably say it again. It's not a great one to smell close up. I really enjoyed smelling it on my hand. It does smell a little bit harsh, but wearing it, living with it, I really enjoyed it. And what was quite incredible about this is this kind of freshness you're getting. I did feel it lasted all the way through.
I can tell this is going to last.
When you say chypre, we expect this oak, mossy, labdanum, patchouli kind of dry down. I definitely didn't get any labdanum, didn't get any patchouli. I didn't really get much oak moss at all. I got this quite bright, energetic greenness, which lasted forever. It lasted all the way through.
Yeah, I'm getting a sort of oak mossy wisp, but I think that also could be this blackcurrant bringing the slight darker elements going on underneath.
I mean, I'm
aware of something
which you may start to get on the skin. I think I'm starting to get on the skin. Was hyacinth. I got quite a lot of hyacinth. Tell you what, and then the fragrance which kept coming into mind once I got the hyacinth was Luxe Calme et Volupté by Francesca Bianca. We recently talked about, and because it's that galbanum hyacinth combination, but she paired it with tangerine, so you had that very bright juiciness. And here you've got hyacinth and galbanum paired with black currant as well. So it's that interesting kind of pairing of the juiciness with the kind of bitter green and the slightly kind of bitter floral of hyacinth.
Yeah, there is that slight bitter edge to this, which I really like. It's what I find quite appealing. I think if this was just kind of quite smiling white florals and greenery, I'm not sure I would be such a fan.
It's not.
It's these little bitter edges that are kind of keeping it interesting. I mean, I have to say, I don't know what a jungle smells like, but I also think this could quite easily be like a really beautiful cultivated garden in Kent. I'm not getting the jungle connection here. Maybe in the more diffusive, wearing it on skin properly, it would feel different.
I think it's certainly not tropical jungle, and I don't think it's supposed to. It's more florist. I almost imagine one of those eco gardens when you're basically in like a massive greenhouse.
Yeah, like the Eden Project.
Yeah, Eden Project, which they have in the UK. I definitely get that. It's definitely not tropical, but yeah, what I like about it is I definitely, when you spray it, as you said, the first thing you said was familiar, and you definitely do get that relation to these 70s chypres, but what it doesn't take you down is that oak mossy. It definitely doesn't go powdery.
No.
It stays quite bright and energetic and kind of up.
Yeah, it's quite youthful, isn't it?
It is youthful.
It feels like a very modern version of what those days would have been.
Bit of blackcurrant to add a bit of brightness. He mentions the basil. I didn't really get a load of basil.
No,
to be honest, when I smell it, but it definitely feels.
I smelled something very recently with an absolute shed load of basil, and it's really overpowering, and I didn't like it. We might talk about that another time, but this doesn't feel like a big spicy herbaceous thing at all. Little hints maybe.
I think this is
very pretty.
I think it's a really interesting fragrance. I think we are. If you watched our channel before, we are big fans of traditional, vintage, luxurious chypres, and this opens as if you're going to get that, but actually it doesn't go in that deep, heavy chypre way. It kind of it stays slightly modern and bright, and it's the kind of thing you could all day. You kind of get that uplifting green, fresh, slightly invigorating feeling, which I really enjoyed. I also like the fact that there's a lot of thought gone into it. That it smells better on you than it smells close up.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more that I smell it close up. My nose shuts down, and I kind of long to just have it in the air around me. I can't believe I did this, but I feel it's definitely one for a bit of diffusion and sillage to happen. I have to say, I'm starting now to get a bit of a relationship to aromatics elixir.
Yes,
starting to that top, the brightness of some of that in the top.
It's not quite.
There's more depth than I first thought.
It's not obviously aldehydic, but there's just a kind of bright greenness which has got a kind of waxiness.
Yeah,
just
little hints
without being obviously old school big aldehydic floral, which is not, I don't think.
I actually get little hints of, I'm still getting that rubber beach ball, and I'm still getting little hints of snuffed candle. Just tiny little hints.
I definitely get that bright rubbery green. I mean, I'm going back to that green stems in water with plastic cellophane kind of wrapping, which I get. I mean, it's great.
It's really good. I mean, and the blend is lovely. I think it's very, very.
I think it's clever and
smooth and balanced.
Again, this is the sixth time I've said this, but what is clever about it is it wears well on you. Do you know? I mean, the process of thinking of what works good on a test strip close up, as opposed to what works well as a perfume experience of somebody wearing it all day.
Yeah.
So you get this.
What
you're getting now does last a really long time throughout the whole day. You don't need to kind of keep topping up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a success, I have to say. And, you know, for a house that, like we said, have put out things like The Night, but also Geranium.
Yeah.
Like he really has the passion, doesn't he? He really goes the full gamut of styles.
And I think he's kind of
achieved
what he's wanted to do. There's a big nod, massive nod to these 70s green cheapers, but then it somehow becomes different.
You know, I'm liking it more and more with every sniff. And that's close up. It's not even a proper wearing. I'm liking it more and more every time. Yeah.
And again,
really good. Really good.
The other thing which doesn't make it feel like a traditional fragrance is you don't quite get the journey that you expect of an old cheap brand. It's much more what we're getting now kind of lasts. Yeah. And you kind of, but I do feel you kind of get waves of hyacinth, waves of galbanum, then you get a little bit of blackcurrant, then it goes back to this green muguet, fresh, hint of waxy aldehyde, all these things kind of as if they're kind of shifting around you without necessarily being top, middle, bottom.
Yeah.
And that's why I think perhaps the jungle term, it's this environment around you which is shifting as opposed to boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's more linear in the sense of actual moving
kind of
through and experiencing
maybe not linear,
things.
but circular.
Yeah. I don't mean linear in the sense of Profumum Roma, for instance, where your opening is what you're going to get straight through the whole time, which I find usually is the case. But circular. You know, you'll get a little bit of this smell, and then you'll keep walking, and then something else will come, but then you'll find the same bush that you just passed at the beginning, and it's sort of coming back in waves. Absolutely. But I have to say, I think it's really good. On paper, like, apart from the fact that it's a Frederic Malle creation, on paper it wouldn't interest me.
Yeah.
And I find this so often, the things I would look at and think, I'm not sure I'm really fussed about that. Like, I don't know about you, but still it has to have a ton of oak moss and castorium, and it has to be made with beaver's face. And then I think, I'm interested. And, you know, a sort of a nondescript white floral affair, even with a snazzy title, I often think, I'm not bothered. And then I smell it and I think,
but I have to say, but also
I have to be more open.
What is good about that is that I do like these little 10mm size, because I've got one of these for music for a while actually. We've never talked about fragrance,
Carlos Benaim.
But you know, it's another fragrance where I thought, I'm not. This is not my most favourite fragrance, and I don't want to wear it every day. But actually, this, I definitely would wear it sometimes, and I'd love to wear it in the spring. And actually, I think I would really enjoy this in the autumn, winter on a rainy day. Just to perk me up and get that all-round day experience of that green.
It is a smiling fragrance. I mean, even though my first reaction wasn't that it's not a big, happy, uplifting thing. It is uplifting, ultimately. Music for a while is what I think Phantom could have been.
Yeah.
In another pair of hands. But you know what I mean? That kind of pineapple-y, lavender fougere thing. I mean, I think that just a few notches and a bit more money and a little bit of...
Quite a few notches.
Yeah, quite a bit more money. But, you know, it's incredible actually. It's quite simple, but beautifully done.
Yeah,
it's like going back to basics with cooking as well, isn't it? If you let the ingredients just speak for themselves in the hands of someone really skilled.
So the only thing
it doesn't need 1,000 things thrown at it.
So at the beginning, my introduction to Anne Filippo, I said she has done a lot of fragrances for the designer houses. As far as I understand it, she hasn't done. This is one of her most expensive fragrances. Does it smell like an expensive fragrance?
No.
Yeah,
it's very beautiful, and I like it. But I mean, what does an expensive fragrance smell like? That's another question for another time, maybe. But I don't smell this and think, the height of luxury and opulence.
No, I don't think I do.
I love to feel
interesting, but it doesn't. Yeah, it definitely. But then, is a happy green thing going to smell like luxury?
No, probably not.
But then Chanel 19 probably smells more luxurious than this.
Yeah.
And is about half the price.
I think I like what it's going for, but also there's a slightly upsetting side of all of this, which is the fact that, companies like Frederic Malle are making these things in tribute to some of these great shoepers of yesteryear, which for anyone watching overseas, you would find on the shelves in Boots.
The local pharmacy.
Yeah. And, Dan and I were talking about one earlier that you just bought recently, and it smells like $1 million, and we probably will do a review on it.
£14.
Yeah. And these are the things that were the perfumes of the day. They weren't in some special niche category. They weren't a sort of other side of the coin. So what I'm essentially saying is I love it, but it's also really sad that it's not just everyday luxury on the shelves.
If this was £14 and we found it in the local pharmacy drugstore, would we be saying this should be a Frederic Malle price? I don't think we would.
I'd say what a great bargain. I'm really glad I found this.
Whereas, we were just talking about, some of the things, even some of the Aramis fragrances, we smelled them, we said, if this was Dana Taboo is, I think, a perfect example of, a super cheaper than if it was in a £200 bottle. You go, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I really think more and more I just respond to my nose. And if I smell something and it elicits the reaction from me, and I can smell that there's personality and creativity going on, that's good enough for me. And Dana is a good example.
Yeah.
It's really great, but I don't know that I would necessarily ascribe it to trappings of luxury and say it should be £200 or whatever it costs. And it's not to say that it's not worth it, because the quality of ingredients and the perfume mastery that's going on here is of the first order.
It's interesting.
It really is.
I do. I mean, I bought. I mean, this. I've only bought a smaller one. This was £38. So this is twice the price of the 100ml bottle of Rochas Femme I've just bought from 1993.
Yeah. Which is an absolutely staggering thing.
Is this 20 times as good?
No.
That's a definite black and white no.
But also taking its inspiration from those things, which is the slightly tough side of the coin, isn't it? That you're taking inspiration from things which are much cheaper and just were the norm, the everyday.
Tricky. I like it. I enjoy it. Is it worth it? I don't know.
I think you have to try it for yourselves, don't you? And if you love it, great.
Yeah.
I mean, as perfume, I like it a lot. I think it's really nicely done. It doesn't set my hairs on end. I like it. I think it's really nice.
I think we've been very conclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't know what to say other than
I enjoy it.
Try it and see what you think.
I think as I said, I really found it interesting exploring this because of the name and with the synthetic in the title for an expensive perfume, the nod to the past, but an obviously different take on it. Lots of interesting things. I will enjoy wearing this occasionally. Maybe it's a bit overpriced. Quite possibly it's quite overpriced. But there we go. Try it and see what you think. I mean, I love other like Phantom. No, Phantom doesn't elicit. Portrait of a Lady knocks my socks off every time, and I think, God, that's incredible. Yeah. Geranium does the same thing. Yeah. So it's not about opulence. That's not opulent in the sense of oak moss and great big florals and wonderful, depth of ingredients. But it's something that really wows me. And when that bottle runs out, I will buy another one. Even Muscat Ravageur, the bottle, it's getting better and better all the time. And every time I wear it now, I think, God, that's actually really good.
And I don't get that here, but I've not worn it properly, so
I like wearing it. I do like wearing it, and I'm going to look forward to wearing it.
yeah,
But
that's all you can ask.
that's all we can ask, and that's all we can say. So if you've tried it, let us know what you think. Yeah. One of our most inconclusive videos, I think.
Or is it?
Or
Who knows? No, I think sometimes we smell a perfume and we like it and we think that's great, no problems at all. And I think that probably means that there's more to come.
Yeah.
And that we perhaps have made a video in the early stages of knowing something, and in a few months' time we may feel completely differently about this, and we may smell it again and think, okay, it's doing some different things now that I didn't get. That's the beauty of perfume, I think.
And also, it is objective. And how is the value of a perfume just the value of the materials? No, it can't be, because, as I said, something like a Rocos Femme, to sell it at 20 odd quid, the ingredients are worth nothing, but the skill gone into it is priceless.
Yeah. That's it. It's worth it if you think it's worth it.
Yeah. But we enjoyed trying it, so if you've tried it, let us know. But until next time,
bye.
Happy sniffing.